Welcome to another Block Chat. It's Makram Hani, and with you is Denis Petrovcic. And today we're airing a special session because Oceanpoint turns 4. Dennis, how are you? We lost Dennis. I believe that Dennis
N-
abandoned
I'm
us.
here. I'm here.
So,
Hey, Makram.
hey
Hey.
man, how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
Very good, very good. Thank you.
You didn't lose me. It was us
I
clicking me at the same time, and we're just
Same
canceling each
time.
other. Yes, yes.
So look, I
But
haven't I haven't come on for maybe a month and a half, 2 months, and then Dennis has been doing this either alone or with a few other members of the team. So he now works around with the buttons. So I used to work with the buttons. So now we're both working with the buttons at the same time. That's dangerous. Dennis, today is a special session. Ocean Point turns forward.
yeah, it's time passes, time flies, I guess. 4 years ago, bit more, we said let's move towards DeFi with Blocksquare, and that was a decision that was really, strongly made by the key people in Blocksquare at the time. And I think we went the right path. There's been ups and downs, but definitely with Ocean Point, I think we've achieved a couple of remarkable things. Um, One thing is that we've turned the product into a brand, and I think that's a very strong signal. Because really, with Ocean Point, we can address the decentralized financial markets um, with a brand that can speak to the user base of DeFi and Web3. And we can really, bring or get closer to the mission of bringing real estate value on chain for the benefits of DeFi. And we've been driving it in that direction. And I remember last year, around this time, we rented a house to get shit done, and we did get shit done. We wrote so much code, and that code has been audited throughout last year, and it's waiting stashed to get out. But we haven't made that decision from a strategic point of view yet. So for those who follow us, might seem that we're delaying certain things, but we're doing it because we know that this needs to be done properly. So there's certain things that are coming. We're going to be talking about in the next sessions, that change um, how we can move forward with what we've built so far. But 4 years, yeah, 4 years. That's that's a long time for
4 years
crypto,
is a long
especially.
time. And when I look at um, how we started looking at how things work together, because sometimes along the way we get stuck in the momentum and we forget the basics of stuff and the basics of what stuff meant. The beauty of Ocean Point is that it magnifies our ability. Look, tokenization is a top stack, a layer above real estate as an asset class. You can place it above anything. Now, there's many layers under, from portfolio management, property management, facility management, and many other elements that play a role in making um, that investment, that purchase, that thing you own a success or a failure. Um, and I've been many times over the past years very positive about some stuff and how it happens, and very negative about some stuff and how people do it. And this is how we learn from what others do, and we learn from what we do, and we try to improve that aspect. Um, Ocean Point and DeFi allow us to uh, magnify um, the top layers, which are tokenization and beyond. Above real estate is liquidity, is capital stacks, and DeFi allows us to to impact multiple of those tranches, and allows us to impact them in a democratized way. And here we're not using jargon. We're talking specific stuff that we've done and that we are doing, and that's very important. By the way, I heard, I read yesterday or the day before, the head of, if I'm not mistaken, sorry for the misinformation if I'm mistaken. His name is His Excellency Khalid, and I forgot his family name. He's the head of PR and public communication, if I'm not mistaken, for Dubai government. And he was talking about PR and marketing in general. He was saying the problem is that there's so much noise and very little matter. Yeah. Now, we have followed, and I agree 100%, generally, especially in what's happening today in the world and the, what is called today tech of tomorrow, regardless if it is AI, tokenization, NFTs in the past, or any of those, where everyone is an expert and so much noise exists. Um, when we look at that, there's so much noise, very little matter. Um, and there are some projects out there. Not sure if we can mention one of, for example, I'll mention, you tell me if in your view I'm wrong or right. Um, Remember, guys, I'm not someone who's in crypto. I'm a real estate guy. I don't understand. The guys explain to me every time what everything means in the other world. When I look at Chainlink, for example, I see that they're a project that works so much and puts so much effort and creates so much success, but they do not have much noise around them. And that's why when you look even at Link, probably their token, you don't see much value. While you see some meme coins creating escalation in value, and then their market cap is higher than Link even. I believe Blocksquare, and I'm not comparing here by any means, but I believe Blocksquare, we've worked with the same method and the same view. We are building tech. It needs to work. It needs to impact people's lives. Otherwise, we're not building something that will last, and we want it to last. Having this team stick to core mode over the past years, and it has been too many years, much more than Oceanpoint has been there. Is for a reason, and those people are interested to impact the future of the asset class real estate because it impacts the future of humans and how they interact with that asset class. It's that essential and core to our lives. Oceanpoint is at a point permissioning us and every one of you to impact the capital stacks and to do things, some of which we'll talk about now, some of which we'll talk about in the future. Thank you for all of those who supported Oceanpoint and the existence of Oceanpoint. And today, hopefully, we'll tell you some more that will be exciting for you without noise, only impact to your lives, to your purchases, and beyond. Dennis, if you look at Oceanpoint today and you look at the the future of the planned product cycle and launches, because there's many coming. Do you believe that everything will be central around Oceanpoint within our environment after a year or two, from a real estate liquidity point of view?
I think it's going to have a meaningful impact on the whole ecosystem that we've built, right? We've sometimes, I look back and I say, should we have started with Oceanpoint in the first place, or did we go wrong by building tokenization infrastructure first and then going towards Oceanpoint later? I think what we're building, the hard part of it is that you really need to have all the pieces there. All components need to be there for it to really, really work well, right? And just having a way to tokenize real estate, it's not enough. Just having a way to tokenize real estate plus a marketplace where people can engage, it's not enough, right? And Oceanpoint, I believe, because of that, because we've been on the market so long, we know how to approach the market. We know what works and what doesn't. We see that there's a clear need for this type of product so that it makes the whole engine complete, let's say. It's just like saying, hey, let's do a car. We'll put wheels. And if you need to, do the Flintstones thing with your feet, it's not a car. It doesn't work. It doesn't get you much further. You need to have an engine. Then when you have an engine, and the car goes fast, you then it's not enough. You need to have, seat belts and windshields, and if it rains, all of that needs to come together so that the car actually has a function. And even with that, you still need roads that allow you to drive on them comfortably. And then you need to have gas stations, and so all of those pieces need to come together. And gas stations are, let's say, it's the market, it's the outside that fuels the whole engine. It needs to exist. And with the certainty, I'm getting more and more people that I talk about that are from real estate and are really interested genuinely in tokenization, and they're not quitting on tokenization. They're coming at these times in the market and saying, I'm convinced now that tokenization is going to be the future for real estate. I am convinced now, and I want to get involved. And I think that's a strong signal. And this is the gas stations are being created and roads around that will take tokenization massively on the market. How it's going to be composed, or what kind of products, because tokenization is a very broad thing, that's a different thing. But the fact that real estate value is migrating on chain is an important piece of the puzzle, right? And so there's this willingness and there's this need. But
Why?
the other on the other end, I keep saying the same thing. The market, the DeFi market, didn't care about real estate. That was the problem. It was not real estate not caring about tokenization. It was always about DeFi not caring about real estate. And now this is changing because of the market, because of the time we're in. There is a need for DeFi to get real estate. Because otherwise the question is, will it survive? Will it survive on only synthetic products that work for 2 months and then they don't work anymore? Will it survive on meme coins? Will it survive on NFTs, or the next big thing that happens in Web3? you know
So a very important question here, because look, tokenization can be centralized and can be done in a as tokenization, full stop, no more, no less. And then every stack that comes after it can come in a conventional manner. So here, decentralized financing. First, DeFi in general, has DeFi been proven, or is there a possibility that DeFi ends up similar to the metaverse, which I never understood the metaverse. I never understood how it works, but many did, and many liked it. So is DeFi proven already? What are the elements that DeFi adds to real estate tokenization? And here I'm asking so many questions, which we may not all be able to answer within the 30 minutes that we promised you this time, but we will answer them. So why is DeFi proven already? What elements does DeFi add to real estate? What have we proven already? Have we proven liquidity? Have we proven a product market fit? What have we proven already through Oceanpoint over the past 4 years? And what are we planning to prove going forward? So let's start with the first. Is DeFi proven already?
I think the short answer is yes. DeFi has proven that it works. You have billions locked up in lending protocols that work fully decentralized with decentralized governance. Is it efficient, the governance models? Maybe, maybe not. Does it work? Yes. Does it
Is it
survive
better than
market
conventional?
market pressure, or contractions, or yes, it survives them. Do we have stablecoin systems that are fully decentralized? Did they work? Yes, we have them. Are the stablecoin models that are centralized working better? Yes, they're attracting more capital. Why? Because the institutional capital needs institutional regulation, regulated products, which might seem like, otherwise it's not trustworthy. But if Bitcoin mining operation would be set up in a centralized way, because regulators would say, Bitcoin should be mined this way, so you need to change, otherwise it's illegal, then it wouldn't work. So there's an element to decentralization that is the key component of value creation for most of these digital assets. And
So what you're
I
saying
think
here,
I think
Dennis,
that's yeah,
what you're saying
yeah.
here is decentralization have worked. It have not probably skyrocketed because the big money is with institutions. Institutions will not touch except regulated, fully regulated approaches, similar to if you want to have an institution today go on chain with liquidity with 1 billion, would they go into DAI or would they go into Circle's, what is it called,
USDC,
USDT? Uh,
USDC,
yeah,
USDT is
USDT.
yeah, exactly. They will most probably go with Circle's
But will it
USDC, right?
boom after regulation comes to DeFi, after MiCA covers all of that, after the US has proper regulation, comprehensive regulation for that? Do you feel that?
I think there's certain things that need clarity, of course, right? Um, the accountability of product creators for DeFi is an important factor. Um, However, there's ways of deploying decentralized protocols that are purely anonymous, even from a funding standpoint of view, and a publishing standpoint of view. Um, Even now, you could, I mean, with AI, most probably this becomes even easier. Um, so products in DeFi will exist, and they will. The question is, will value touch them, right? And what is the trust? What transcends trust for money to come into a specific product? Um, I think from a what is decentralized finance? If you look at the term, it's finance and it's decentralized. What's the decentralized part? Um, if we say that every part of the product needs to be decentralized and everything that touches it needs to be decentralized, that's, I think, utopia. That's not going to happen. And the fact is that even if it's supposed to be decentralized, there might be elements to it that are centralized because of how the code was created. If not else, maybe it's in the backbone there's a deployed smart contract system, but in the front end it's a centralized product that's developed by 3 people to interact with it, right? And then
So
if you
what you're
cut that
saying is that
away,
it can be a hybrid, so that it works well, and then it can
look,
be fully regulated, but certain elements similar to governance or other elements can be decentralized for
exactly.
benefits of that. But we don't take decentralization just as a permanent, consistent mode for the whole thing.
Exactly. It doesn't need to be. It's like, Aave is a decentralized lending protocol, but it uses USDC and USDT, which are centralized stablecoin issuers. So is it a
Perfect.
decentralized financial product? I still think so it is, because the main part of the product, it's not the stablecoins, it's not the assets that it uses,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's how it's composed and what safety it gives me as a user. I know that when I interact with the protocol, there's clear rules. Nobody will change those rules except if there's general consensus of changing those rules, which is good, and that's why I believe that I can trust it in a way. It has attracted billions of capital, so it has been tested, for instance, and it's something that I can interact with, and I'm not gonna lose the value, or because it's self-custody. I don't need to trust a business to hold my funds, because even the most regulated businesses have gone bankrupt, and people have lost money. Banks have gone bankrupt, people have lost money. Here, the protocol, yes, can it go bankrupt? Most probably it can. Can there be a sort of bank run and liquidity drying up from it? Yes, but do I have something? Can I do something at that moment? Yes, I can, right? I just need to be fully aware of what's happening and follow it, and not just leave it there and come back in 3 years, of
Perfect.
course.
So what we're saying is DeFi is proven in its current form. Future forms of DeFi interaction with conventional, with centralized, is to be tested, and probably that's the most prominent that will come. Um, Now, DeFi, it's decentralized financing, and financing and liquidity is the blood that runs through the infrastructure, which is the veins of any asset class and any economy. So, how does that and how will that impact real estate, and how we do it in Oceanpoint? So let's start. How is that gonna impact real estate in general, and then we look at Oceanpoint and how we've done it in the past 4 years.
I think when it comes to real estate, there's inherently a centralized part. When it comes to tokenizing a real estate asset, we all know there's a property owner, there's property management, and the property owner needs to have an incentive to properly manage the property. That's it. Tokenization, in my view, is just having an Instagram account. You're creating followers for your account. And let's say the property is your Instagram account, you're doing something good with it, you have followers. And I think that's kind of the tokenization element to it. It can create traction beyond finance as well, in possibly, because let's say you're building a new city out in the desert and nobody knows about it. If you tokenize a small portion of some plots there and you airdrop them around, people's going to start talking about it. Hey, what is this? This is, you go out with a PR, everybody knows about you building a town. I think that's the power of tokenization beyond just, me getting 7, 8, 9% returns on short-term rentals or whatever, right? So that's that part. Now, how does that then? It's obviously there's this centralized element, but it's just like a stable coin. It's also centralized. You trust a company to issue tokens for the value they hold and not overissue tokens, and you need somebody to oversee it. Here, you trust one party to manage the property, and they generate returns because that's good for them, and at the same time it can be good for you too. And so that part is there. Now, what can you do with these tokens? That's the question. Can you resell them? Can you collateralize them? Can you borrow against them? Right? That's the part where DeFi comes in. Because if you do all of those products in a centralized way, it's going to be really hard, because then you take custody of those. You need to be a bank to do it, essentially. But if it's done with decentralized tools, with smart contracts that can help two parties interact without an intermediary, that's powerful. Imagine you're a lender and I'm a borrower, and we have a system on Oceanpoint that allows us to exchange value, to make a deal that we both need to respect. And I think that's the power of decentralization.
That's powerful, because tomorrow morning, it will DeFi can open everyone to lend to any owner of real estate that has been tokenized. So if you tokenize a property and you put it on chain, you can either sell the token, buy it back, and that's your interaction with it. If you sell it, you're done with it. Somebody else owns it. Somebody else owns the return of it. However, what if you don't want to sell the token? Would you still tokenize? And can you have DeFi act as or someone in DeFi through a smart contract act as a lender and lend you money against it? Can you can you take forward a transaction where you do not actually pay the alpha that you're creating on your property? If you're a very good asset manager and you're turning around 12%, 13% on your property, but you only want to pay 5%, you don't want to sell it, is there a route for you with tokenization. Probably DeFi gives you that. Yeah. Now, how have we done any of those over the past 4 years, and what are we planning to do over the coming 4 years?
So in the past 4 years, the main mission of Oceanpoint was to create a hub for our community to engage, um, to attract early participants, to map the cross section, the people who are at the cross section of Web3, crypto, and real estate. So by offering tokenization for staking, we've achieved a remarkable thing. We've attracted the owners of 200 million worth of real estate assets to tokenize with us and stake and learn the process. Many of these property owners have never owned tokens, have never owned a wallet. That's a huge educational effort that we've done. And I think that's something that many don't see and that they should, essentially. Now, the other part, where are we going from here? We've developed the point token, launched a white paper that's 40 plus pages long with a lot of details. There's even a podcast on oceanpoint.fi that explains it. If you go to the app.oceanpoint.fi, you click on liquidity, you will have all our plan in front of you. And launching point tokens, there's a critical element to it. And we're going to go to what point tokens are maybe later on. But essentially, we're building this liquidity engine. And when you're building a liquidity engine, what do you need to have first? You need to have liquidity. So when you're launching the point token, the first step is creating a liquidity pool and incentivizing other participants in DeFi to join you and provide liquidity for it, for something that they don't yet know, or we don't yet have any track record of it working or not, right? And with the market we are in now, this is something that strategically you should not go and do, because it's going to be really hard for you to get a meaningful liquidity participation at that moment. And that's why we've been postponing it, you know. But obviously, we've put so much effort and investment into making Point a viable product, and we have it developed for phase 1 and 2 based on the functionality in the white paper, and we can't launch it. So I
any
think
moment
that's
we will see a launch of phase 1 and 2 directly together, or 1 and followed by 2 in a very short space of time, isn't it? When the
yes and
moment is
no.
right.
It's yes and no. It's what we've managed to do on paper, and we're now going in forward with implementation or testing first testing, is we found a way where we can launch Point without a liquidity pool. And I'll stop at that. And this is, I think, quite powerful because, you know, I, I personally I didn't see how we can move forward. You know, you come into a one-way street and you don't know, you need to go back, and then, maybe all this work was for nothing, and maybe we will need to wait 2 years. Is it going to be too late? But then you start thinking about the core principles of what Point is and what it provides, and then you see, well, actually, this solution is actually something that is even better than what we anticipated and what we thought. The thing we planned on last January was an easy DeFi launch type of thing that everybody was doing, and it worked back in 2022 when we launched Oceanpoint. And now it's not working anymore. So you need to have a new strategy. You need to do it differently, and then you come to a product that actually makes sense, and it makes it even better.
it's us learning as we go, yeah. And we will not tell you about what Dennis is talking about now. However, it is something very interesting where, again, uh, remember our views and our thoughts of our products and future products also evolve with time, because initially we were excited as much as you, probably more than you, about tokenizing and product. With time, excitement gets replaced with the ability. Excitement stays in a way, but gets replaced with the ability to create a real impact. So today, when we think of a product, we think, how can it be the base of future scaling? We proved the product now. We proved liquidity. Yeah, we proved liquidity, and we've proved that if you have the right product, you put it on chain, it sells. We rarely have a problem of liquidity with the few products that are available on chain now offer for sale. We generally have a problem of product. We don't have enough of the product that's selling at the right price. So when we tell you people should stop tokenizing crap, we mean it. You should start
Of course.
tokenizing reasonable assets, decent assets in a decent way. Nobody on chain is stupid to buy crap that is just tokenized, wrapped with a token. Doesn't change the asset itself or the investment it is. So we've proved that, and now we're looking at products, and this is how our view of the product evolves. Few years ago, actually, now 2021, we were sitting under a tree in Ljubljana, Daniel, Dennis, myself, fighting. I'm serious about fighting. And actually, we left Dennis, he left home, and me and Daniel left to our house, and we were still fighting all through the road about point and the meaning of point, and why point and why not, or what is and what isn't. But today, I believe what we've evolved to, maybe not by a fortune of ours, but by how things evolved while we're going, we
Hmm.
evolved to something that will really impact the capital stack in your real estate and really affect the front layers, the layers that come after, above tokenization. The layers that come under tokenization are being dealt with as well. Don't forget, since day one, we always said it's very important to standardize, neutralize, and normalize everything that comes under it, from a terminology to everything else. Because if you've ever owned real estate, you know that the success of portfolio management, property management, facility management is a main impactor on the success of real estate as an investment. It's not just buy right, sell right, or lease right, or whatever. There's many elements that are around it, and we've been putting effort to make sure that those elements are in place to support whatever is there and whatever is tokenized. But now let's look at the upper layers, and Oceanpoint serves as a perfect part of that. I'll not take long, I'll not say much more, because we've skipped our time that we've promised you. We'll try not to skip. But what's coming of Oceanpoint is something you should watch. The 4 years that passed were proof of many elements, including liquidity for decent product, um, and evolution of the product pipeline that we have in mind. Coming up is something where you are able to access what I can consider instant liquidity, which is a big thing in real estate, trust me. Limited at the beginning, but scalable afterwards, and this is what's coming. Um, Dennis, do you wish to say something else, or introduce something else still to our community and beyond?
No, I think that's you summed it up well. I think we've done and learned quite a lot in the past 4 years with Oceanpoint. I think we've laid the groundwork for something that can grow into something very, very interesting. And I must admit that throughout, most of, last year's end, the situation grew frustrating for me when it comes to moving forward with Oceanpoint. And now that we have something concrete, I'm really, looking forward. I'm excited again because I see that, this roadblock has been solved. Obviously, it's on the drawing board still. Um, but from the drawing board to with the team that we have, being able to actually go then forward and produce it, I think that's not an issue. We have a very capable developer team with all the tools, so all tools at hand to move forward with it. And I'm quite excited to see where it takes, how this is going to impact Blocksquare in general. But yeah, but happy to wear the bullish shirt again after a bit of time, So yeah,
I saw someone wearing it on LinkedIn a few days ago as well.
okay.
Guys, we are bullish about the future of tech. Forget about the macro. I'm a fan of thinking about the specific that impacts my life and the lives of those around me on a daily basis. Um, Take it simply. Um, Follow and look at what Blocksquare have done already, and look at what Blocksquare is doing now. And remember, those bunch of people cannot be stupid enough to be putting all of those years after something that will uh, not have liquidity, not scale, and not grow. Still, remember that today we are more powerful than any time in the past. It may not reflect on the face, because today, when you talk anything related to tokenization, to blockchain, there is gloom around it. However, has our treasury been ever stronger, Dennis?
We're actually really well positioned. So I think from that perspective, we're in a very good moment. Um, and but at the same
Has
time,
our team been ever bigger, more impactful in many locations? What's happening today in many parts of Africa, Australia, has it ever been different?
I would say that our team has never been more consolidated around the mission, because when things are in certain markets, the perspective of people changes and so forth. And when there's a contraction, I think it becomes natural that um, the strong remain, and there's going back to fundamentals. Um, and I think that's also an important reflection, is when you come to this kind of situations where you see that there's conviction and in those who are around you, and I think that's going to be important.
So we're
Yeah.
a small team and a small organization, hopefully doing big things. Um, Coming up, I would encourage you to watch the coming block chats over the coming few weeks, because there will be some interesting news come to you. And hopefully, at the right time, you will see some things in DeFi on Oceanpoint come that will make you very interested. There is also some assets that we're in discussions with the owners of, very interesting assets that will go on chain, which are non-crap, which is very important. Um, Dennis, anything else you would like to say from my side? Thank you all for all your energy and for all the time you've supported us. And I'll leave it for Dennis.
Thank you, Makram, for another great blog chat. I hope everybody who watched us or is watching us in a recording is doing fine and enjoying the conversation we had today. Thanks. Bye.